Oh, yes, my fellow Nigerians. There are some historical lessons I just want to bring to the attention of my countrymen and women, especially those youth, because I was discussing with my daughter, uh, my 31-year-old daughter, and I was taking her through Nigerian history, and I forgot that uh, she was too small to catch up with some of the uh, lessons I was bringing out about Nigerian political history. On a very quick note, I want Nigerians to note one thing. When General Olusegun Obasanjo spoke concerning any presidential aspirant, when he spoke concerning Tinubu, the Emilokon concept really triggered a lot of annoyance in the military generals. I speak, number one, as a retired soldier of the Nigerian army. I'm not just a soldier, but a military historian and a journalist. And for the past 12 years, a law degree holder from University of Teesside. So I have the background to talk about the subject I'm talking about. When I was a soldier, precisely 1999, when Obasanjo was released from prison, something triggered in my mind when General IBB visited Obasanjo just immediately after his release from prison. And I said, this man is the next president. And I could see General A.A. Abubakar. Of course, I was a soldier, so I saw, number one, I know where he built his own house. I know where IBB's house is on the same hill, and I could see that these people are just like, I must tell you, maybe they're even cousins, you know. And then I said, okay, how did Abacha die? And Abacha died, and Abacha having died, this man took over as head of state, and he said he will not even spend a year in office. Within the 8 months, what was he doing in 8 months? They were simply preparing a political party that Obasanjo will be the president. Simple analysis. Because when Abacha imprisoned Obasanjo, that was a foul. Because Obasanjo is Abacha senior. And Obasanjo has the moral right to give counsel to General Sani Abacha to say, hey, you can't go this line, you can't toe this lane. But what did Abacha do? Rather than inviting Obasanjo to his office and find reason or reason with him and say, okay, all right, sir, I take your criticism on board. He rather set Obasanjo up and arrested Obasanjo. When I see the confession of Colonel Bello Fadili, Bello Fadili is from my town, he's from Kaba. As a matter of fact, when I met him in London in year 2005, precisely, we met in London at the Nigerian High Commission when I went for my passport renewal, and of course to get a letter from from our High Commissioner, the defense advisor, about the need for a letter to Directorate of Military Pensions for my pension to be released. For 5 years, my pension was held. Now, I had a chat with Bello Fadile, which, of course, let me not go that area. But the truth is, General Obasanjo needed to be framed up and to be arrested. And then he was sent to prison. That angered a lot of generals. Somebody like IBB, somebody like Abubakar. And then when Abacha wanted to continue as president, if he had maybe set a time frame to say, okay, I'm having taken over from Shonekon, I just want to organize a credible election. But because he's going to be a president, then they felt, it means Obasanjo will be languishing in prison. No, they needed to do something. Meanwhile, Abacha died. Pam. General A. Abaka became head of state. Pam. Obasanjo was released in prison. Pam. Election was held. Obasanjo became president. Then you want to think that when Obasanjo speak on the presidency of this country, any right-thinking Nigerian want to say no or think otherwise. The position of the office of president is dual. President and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That office is not meant for any, questionable character. These generals, they've met, and there is a standard of who should occupy that office. Because number one, if you just put anybody that can drag this country into war, who will prosecute the war? It is the military. And so the military want to be very careful. Let us know the kind of character that will become the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That office is not meant for anybody, not just anybody. And besides, we need to preserve the territorial integrity of this country. We need to preserve the oneness of this country. The country is so fragile that secessionists, something is already brewing, Odua this, Biafra. And you know what that cost us? The Nigerian Civil War. No countries go into two civil wars and survive it. So, Tinubu is not qualified to be the president of Nigeria because of the drug charges he had in US. The generals just shut their eyes to say, okay, well, he's contesting for Senate. Okay, there's nothing we can do for senator. There's nothing. Then he went ahead from senator because senator is just, you just know the kind of, you have people that already you can count the number of votes that will vote you into office as a senator. Then he used that as a ladder. Pam, governor. He clinched that. The generals were looking. Already they have the record. Have we forgotten that General Muhammadu Buhari signed the execution of 3 Nigerians for drug trafficking? Bartholomew and co. 3 of them were killed because of drug trafficking. And in the same, because 1985 and 1990 that Tinubu had a case in US for drug trafficking and money laundering. Despite the kind of lofty argument he put forward, that's why you see he surrounded himself with lawyers, funding them, preparing them, sponsoring them into office. That guy is smart. But then he had overshot his boundary by attempting to become the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That kind of character cannot be my commander, because that's why the fact that when I was a soldier, I joined the army as a graduate. I was a graduate of Kwara State College of Education in Ilorin, 1987. So NCE graduate. As at 1986, we were doing youth service corps. So I'm a graduate and I joined the army. So when I joined the military, I began to study them. I studied